freshen your tea, governor. Sherry Poppins is back. Oh, wait. Mary Poppins.
Yes.
That's what it was. Sherry Poppins was on The Simpsons.
That's true.
With Ricky Rouse and Ronald Muck.
Okay. Welcome to Drawing Conclusions. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Josh.
And today we are talking about Mary Poppins Returns.
Mary Poppins, y'all!
So that's what we're doing.
That is what we're doing. Now, I did not see this with the family. Washwag. I was home taking care of one of the other kids who probably had no interest in seeing this. Anyway. So I'll be asking you what you thought of this show.
Okay.
Anyway, what did you think of this show?
So I liked it. I haven't seen the original Mary Poppins in a very long time.
Yeah,
I don't have the
many
same emotional attachment to the original Mary Poppins that other people do.
Right, the fun nostalgia.
I liked it when I was a kid, and I liked the music and everything, but I'm not like this gigantic Mary Poppins fan, and
right.
I wasn't like horrified to find out that they were making a sequel that starred somebody besides Julie Andrews. So I didn't have any of this
and Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. So I didn't have any of this emotional baggage, going into it. Now, if they were going to remake Sound of Music, that would be a different story.
Hey, they kind of did.
What? Oh, that TV thing?
Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
Okay.
Anyway.
Very sorry.
We'll never talk about that again.
Let it never be spoken of again.
Anyway, so, but I did enjoy the Mary Poppins Returns. I found it very charming and enchanting. Emily Blunt, to me, was great as Mary Poppins. I said it during our Quiet Place review. I think she's a phenomenal actress. I think she's one of the best actresses working in Hollywood today.
Right, she just always seems to turn in great performances.
Yeah.
Whatever she does. From Quiet Place to apparently this.
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
Right.
I mean, just pretty good.
I told your mom, by the way, that movie was called Edge of Tomorrow, and she did not believe me.
Well, it's time for the shovel.
Anyway, she was like, "No, that's not it." I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
That's what it's called.
Anyway, so
it's on the cover and everything.
Emily Blunt was great as Mary Poppins. I thought the whole cast was good. Who
else was in this?
Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it.
Okay.
He's the modern day version of Bert. He's a lamper, I think is what they called him. He lights the
lamplighter.
The lamps, yeah.
Okay.
And Ben Whishaw is the grown-up Michael Banks, and
Okay.
Emily Mortimer's Jane Banks as an adult. Colin Firth is in it as the new bank not manager, but running the show, executive.
There you go. Sounds good.
And and there's a fun appearance by Meryl Streep. It's fun. It's a fun show. The music's really good. They consulted with Richard Sherman or Robert Sherman. One of the Sherman brothers.
One of the Sherman brothers, right.
I can't remember now which one it was. But one of the Sherman brothers on the music, and the Sherman brothers, of course, did the music for the original Mary Poppins movie back in the 60s. And so I thought that was great. And I think you could tell that there was some influence there from the original film. There were a couple of times when they played, in the score, themes from the original Mary Poppins.
Okay.
And there were enough nods to the original that it felt like a Mary Poppins film, but then it didn't seem completely, it wasn't like, oh, this is the exact same story, it's completely derivative, or,
Right.
It seemed like a continuation and a new story while still being true to the spirit of the original Mary Poppins, in my opinion.
Well, what was the look of the film like?
It was very, very pretty.
Okay.
The costuming was great, especially for Mary Poppins. I thought that somebody said that they thought the CGI in the first time that they journey into their imagination wasn't very good. I don't remember it being bad. I thought, that there's a scene where they do the animation plus the live action together, like in the original Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really nice. And there's some really clever things in that too. And actually the journey into that kind of reminded me a bit, not only of the original Mary Poppins, but also Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Oh, right, yeah.
That Disney film from back in the day.
Well, yeah.
And
fight the Nazis.
and what should be noted here is that the children actors that they used in the film were very good. And it can be very difficult to find good child actors, but they were really good. And there were some very touching moments that made me cry. As far as what I didn't like about it,
was there anything you didn't like about the show?
It did feel a bit long. But this is my complaint with the original Mary Poppins too.
Felt long too.
Yeah, the story itself for Mary Poppins Returns is fairly straightforward, uncomplicated, and does not need a 2-hour and 10-minute runtime. They don't need 2 hours and 10 minutes to get the story out. And so some of it felt definitely like padding. It's like, oh, we need to have a musical number here,
Yeah.
And there's kind of the same thing that happened with The Greatest Showman. It was very little dialogue and then a musical number and then very little dialogue and a musical number.
Yeah, that was kind of my hang-up with The Greatest Showman.
And so,
did the story make sense, though?
No, yeah, the story made sense.
Okay.
And but it just was a little long. And some of the stuff that happened was unnecessary. Frankly, the whole scene with Meryl Streep seemed mostly unnecessary to the plot, but it was one of my favorite parts of the show. So while I think it was a little long and they did things that weren't completely needed, and especially like in terms of musical numbers in particular, I think there were things that they could have trimmed, yet I can't pick which musical number I would have trimmed because I enjoyed all of them. The music was good, the choreography was good, and it was fun. I wasn't, even though it feels a little long for such a simple story, I wasn't bored in the theater and I wasn't waiting for it to end.
Well, that's
I was
good.
still entertained.
I mean, I don't know, that's kind of a quality movie right there for me, is when it does seem long, but it doesn't bother you so much.
Right.
Like, I'm still enjoying myself,
Right, and none of the kids got antsy and were like, "Oh, when is this going to be over? I want to get out of here."
Oh, that's a good sign too.
They were enjoying it the entire time.
Right.
In fact, if you listen to our Patreon podcast, you'll know already that our children all gave it between 4.5 and 5 stars for their ratings. So they really enjoyed the movie.
All right. So overall, what would you give this movie?
So I'm having a hard time kind of landing on a final rating for it.
Oh,
but I think it's...
Pull the trigger on it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
After giving it some more consideration, I think it's a 4.
Okay.
It's a
4
very...
what? Out of what?
4 talking parrot umbrellas out of 5 balloons. Just kidding.
5 balloons. Conan O'Brien game rating system.
It's a very solid family film.
Okay.
And it's definitely for the family. It's very, very wholesome. It's got that sweet, innocent wholesomeness that you remember from the original Mary Poppins. In fact, our son on our podcast said that he gave it 5 stars because there was no violence in it. Oh. So that was the reason he gave it 5 stars.
That's good.
So it's a really fun film, and it's definitely worth seeing on the big screen because there are some really great, visuals and some things that are definitely worth seeing in the theater.
Okay.
So I recommend it.
Cool.
So Josh, tell us a little bit about this watercolor picture that you did of Mary Poppins.
Oh, well, spoiler there. Yes, this is watercolor.
Was that a spoiler? They're watching you watercolor.
What?
Right
No, no. Anyway. I do like some of the classic Disney art that went into the production of their films, and the poster, one of the posters they used to promote this movie was something that they had something that it looks like they ran it through some watercolor filters, or had somebody kind of fiddle with it digitally. And I was like, what, this looks like watercolor. I'm going to try and recreate part of this. And that's what I tried to do. So I used watercolor and then went over that stuff with some Prismacolor pencils to really bring up the lines and add some textures and things like that. And then went in with white, opaque gouache, which is an acrylic paint. First, just little highlights here and there, and for a little bit on the border.
And for the dots on her gloves and her bow
dots
tie.
on her gloves and her bow tie, right? And so just like playing up some the white spots that really needed to be played up. I didn't really do much of that on her face. In fact, I don't think I did any of it on her face because I thought it turned out really nice and wanted to keep it the way it was. But I had a good time doing this. I love watercolor. It's really fun. And doing mixed media stuff is always really cool and challenging. So,
Cool.
There you
All
go.
right. So that is it for this edition of Drawing Conclusions. Joshua, what should they do now?
They should like this video, subscribe.
They should comment on the video.
They should.
And they should share it with their friends.
Yes, tell your friends about what we do here.
Mary Poppins would want you to share.
Yes, she would. She would want you to share. I agree. Also, check us out on Patreon, for we have a podcast there as well.
All right. Thanks.